Welcome everyone back to another edition of Berkey Movies, ready for 2020. I'm Birchie.
I'm Berkey.
So, first we want to apologise. We didn't get much material out at the end of December. Very, very busy. It was a Christmas period, New Year period. We did go see some films, but we just didn't manage to get any material out. So, before we go on to 2020, should we just cover what we saw in December very quickly? I mean, we will cover it a bit more later in the review because it will go back in...
Bit of a recap of 2020 as well. And
2019.
2019. And the beginning of our channel.
Yeah, definitely. So first of all, I went to see Jumanji 2. I know you haven't seen that yet.
Not seen it yet.
Yeah, it was alright. It was okay. The first half I really enjoyed. The second half, it kind of got a bit boring, just purely because it felt a bit rushed and like there was no real new ideas. So at first it was really good because they'd done the whole thing with it was the two old guys.
Danny Glover
and
Danny DeVito.
Yeah, that's it. And it was quite interesting how they brought them into it, and I actually quite liked it. And I weren't too sure I was going to like it at the start, but they actually did it really well. But then it just tailed off a bit, got a bit...
Did it feel like a rehash of the first one at all?
Yeah, a little bit. It was no new ideas, and what new ideas they did have were just to assist the plot rather than actually being new ideas. So you know when you kind of just chuck something in a film just to allow the plot to evolve, and I don't want to, because you haven't seen the film, so I don't want to ruin it for you, but there's kind of things that they throw in there just so that it allows the plot to go in certain ways they wanted it to go, rather than it develop naturally as a film would go. So for that reason, you know, like when you saw the first one, it was loads of new ideas, and I actually found it was really interesting, really good how they did it, and how they made it like a computer game. They kind of did that, but a bit over the top in this one. So too many things thrown in, too many characters as well. It was really good in the first one with your four main characters, and I would have preferred probably just to see them evolve into something.
Yeah, I was going to ask you. So, The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, and Kevin Hart.
Yeah.
They're clearly Danny DeVito and Danny Glover. Karen Gillan, was she the same character as the first one? And Jack Black? Or were they different?
No, they kind of did a bit of changing around. However, and I can't give it away for you.
Okay.
Stuff happens. But you end up with like about...
But did they seem different to the first film, like Karen Gillan's
No.
Or...
So that was what was enjoyable, because you were familiar with them. You wanted to see them do what they did, if you know what I mean. So when you saw The Rock being Danny DeVito, for example, it wasn't as fun. It was okay. Kevin Hart was really good as Danny Glover, though, really good. And that was the best thing about the film. It was hilarious.
I've seen them in a YouTube interview recently where they had to do quotes of Danny Glover and Danny DeVito from old films. So like The Rock was reading like lines from Matilda and things like that. And I think Kevin Hart was reading something from, it was like Lethal Weapon and Predator 2. And Kevin Hart just seems to absolutely nail Danny Glover, whereas The Rock, because he's so different to Danny DeVito, he couldn't get close.
No, that's it.
But, is that what it seemed like?
Yeah.
Was it like almost like the re-embodiment of Danny Glover?
It was brilliant. It was just the way he did it was really good, and that's why the first half's really good, because you see that happen and that evolve, and you're kind of with it.
Yeah.
The Danny DeVito thing's not really... because he's so different to The Rock, and I mean so different. Like you couldn't get more polar opposites, really. And as a result, it just didn't work for me as well as it probably could have. And then what happened is you end up having so many characters in the game, where by the end of the film, and again this is not giving it away from you end up having about 7 or 8 playable characters. It just got too much. By the end of that, you were like, it's just too many. And then there's a bit of a twist at the end, which I'm not going to give away, as to where they're going to go with the next one.
Oh, so they leave the door open for a sequel.
Leave the door open for another one, because purposely they didn't really do that in the last one, apart from playing the drums of Jumanji at the end.
And also the games console was still technically there, I suppose, wasn't it?
Well, they smashed it up, didn't they?
Yeah, but the drums were still going.
Yeah.
So
it was the same in the ball game, in the original, wasn't it? So I can't remember what they did with it, but it
didn't. I think it might have been that the board game turned into an old games console.
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
Which was really good. Overall, it weren't as good as the first. Which was a shame. And I was a bit disappointed by the second half of the film. First half, fantastic. Kevin Hart's fantastic in it. Worth seeing. Bit disappointment for me, but not enough to me to absolutely slate it, because it wasn't terrible.
No.
But it just wasn't on par with the first one, which was a shame. It felt rushed. It felt like they did rush it out too quick as well.
I've watched a few films on Netflix lately. One that sticks out just because I thought it was terrible was Six Underground.
I haven't seen that.
I've looked into the budget of it. $150 million they spent on it. So it's got loads and loads of explosions, special effects. It's directed by our hero from Transformers.
Oh no,
Michael Bay.
Yeah.
Michael Bay.
Oh
no. I really like Ryan Reynolds, and he's the star of the film. But unfortunately, I think Michael Bay has ruined
Michael Bay.
He's ruined it for Ryan Reynolds. I'm looking forward to more Ryan Reynolds films.
Yeah.
I don't see that as a setback.
No.
But
it's just...
And I've been watching TV series. I think you've been watching it as well. The Witcher.
Really enjoyed The Witcher. Really enjoyed The Witcher. Well worth watching. So it's been a mixed one. The big one we went and saw. Should we cover it first? Should we cover it now?
Yeah,
Should we cover it now? It's one of the reasons why. Reasons these are here is it was my daughter's birthday, so we've got Princess and a unicorn here.
Nice unicorn.
And it's thankfully covering up this monstrosity. Well, that film was good.
No,
that was a good film.
Rogue One's decent.
Rogue One was decent, but
it's not my favourite Star Wars film.
Star Wars. Right, so to explain the story very quickly, we were going to cover this last year. So Kirky and I signed up for the big three, so we went to see what was the first one?
The first one was The Force Awakens,
followed by The Last Jedi.
So I started watching that at 6 p.m.
Yeah, so
or sat down at 6.
Saw the trilogy at the cinema. So it was the first one, second one, The Last Jedi, and then obviously the debut of Skywalker. I didn't want to see the first one. I couldn't bring myself to do it. I had too much on, and I thought, no, I'll go and see the last, because I hadn't seen The Last Jedi before I saw this one. So very quickly on The Last Jedi, I quite enjoyed it. It was okay. It wasn't anything amazing, but I didn't hate it. Like, I know it got a lot of criticisms. It was okay. It was okay. It felt like a middle of a trilogy to me. It felt like one that just kept things ticking along, but not really much exciting happened, and it was a bit disappointing with Luke at the end. And in throughout the whole thing.
I don't know that you're going with not much exciting happened. I think because it's so old, we can discuss spoilers for this one.
Oh yeah.
Snoke's killed.
Oh yeah, no,
very dramatically.
I got that, and I like that. No, it just felt like a bit. I don't know how to describe it really. I just felt the whole thing with Luke and Rey just wasn't for me. It dragged for quite a long while, and I just kind of wanted Luke to become a bit more, because Luke, for anyone who were kid, we were kids when we were growing. Well, this was before us, but as a kid, Luke Skywalker was the the hero, and you kind of seen him just turn into this angry old man, and it was a little bit disappointing. But at the same time, I still didn't mind it, and I actually quite enjoyed it. I actually, for me, it was alright. I didn't mind it at all.
So I was born in 1984, so the first Star Wars trilogy, the way I saw the first Star Wars trilogy was on, I believe it was ITV when I was a kid, probably about 6 or 7 years old. So for me back then, Return of the Jedi was by far my favourite Star Wars film. Being a kid, I absolutely loved the Ewoks. I loved I loved all the stuff on Tatooine where Han Solo was rescued.
That was really good. Really good.
Absolutely loved that. I loved the speeder bikes through Endor Forest and the way. I absolutely loved when C-3PO got picked up by Luke when he used the Force to make him fly in front of all the Ewoks. They'd been captured by him, and then all of a sudden C-3PO effectively became the god or demigod or something like that, and he was telling the story. I thought that was absolutely amazing. But as I've grown up, my favourite by far is Empire Strikes Back. It just has so many good story points, like the famous Princess Leia to Han Solo, where she says "I love you," and he doesn't say it back. He just says "I know." How cool is he? And then
he was.
And it was really sinister, like the way he got frozen and these screams and things like that. Luke gets his hand chopped off. Finds out the dramatic twist of "I'm your father," which apparently in German Vader means father and Darth means dark, so dark father. So the clue was there all along in the very first Star Wars film. But yeah, I going back to Rise of Skywalker, I didn't love it, but I liked it, and I did prefer it to The Force Awakens, but not by a lot, because I really like The Force Awakens. For me, this new trilogy has been better than the prequel trilogy. I like a lot of bits of the prequel trilogy, but there's some stuff, Attack of the Clones, Anakin having his monologue about sand, hate that. The pear that's floating, he gets it on Padme's fork.
Yeah.
CGI, I just thought that was absolutely awful. No need for it. Pod racing I liked. Didn't like Jar Jar Binks in Phantom Menace. Really liked Darth Maul and his dual lightsaber.
Yeah.
Thought that was so cool. Rise of what's it called? What was the third one called? Why am I forgetting? Why am I having a moment? A senior moment.
Gonna look it up.
Revenge of the Sith.
Yep.
Why am I forgetting that? Really good film, other than the last 10 minutes wrapped up far too quick, and some of the lightsaber battles were just too spinny for me. They weren't actually having a fight, they were like too busy spinning it all around. I don't know what that's all about, but
listen,
films, really.
The Rise of Skywalker was for me, and we spoke about this, so we've had quite a long time, and I'm quite keen in future to kind of let myself digest the film for a couple of days afterwards, because I was angry after, I was a bit annoyed by it. I've calmed down a bit since then, because it was so all contrived. So and I don't know whether, and we've discussed this a bit, as whether as youngsters, when you watch a film, you kind of take it as a spectacle.
You're more accepting as well.
Accepting is what it is.
Yeah.
As you get older, you become a bit more critical films in and you expect a bit more from things, you look a bit deeper into things, and rather than take it on face value. And I wonder whether if I took that film on face value, it was actually quite good. And I do wonder that. But if you look at it, when you break it down, like is what we do when we critique films, it just was a mess, a complete mess of just, there was no real character development. The Force got ridiculous, and can we? It's been out long enough. Can we include spoilers?
Yeah,
we'll include spoilers in this. So if you don't want to hear spoilers about Star Wars,
people that want to see it would have seen it.
By now. So we're going to include them anyway.
Came out 18th of December.
Yeah,
Sorry, didn't we?
And let's face it, the Force become too much. It was healing. She was healing things. She was that bit where she's having a tug of war over the ship in the sky. The where Chewie had been captured. Too much, and she becomes so OP'd that, and she, I don't find that interesting. Like when you compare Luke, right? Luke, I found was quite endearing, quite good, quite nice. And when you took the trio of Hans, Leia, and Luke, the three of them, the dynamic between the three of them was really interesting because they were all quite different and they all had their own unique bit. Ray just come across a bit boring, really. I've never really taken to her in the same way that I probably should have. There was that. It was just everything. Just
I think that it has the three characters working together quite well in Rey, Poe, and Finn. I do think the way the character arcs have been, I've enjoyed their interactions and things like that. But also, as you were saying, it might depend on how old you are, what you get from it.
Yep.
My 10-year-old daughter absolutely loves Rey.
Yeah.
She thinks she's absolutely awesome. So I saw it so I've seen it twice. Second time I took my daughter, she absolutely loved it.
But are we not? We're going to cover this a bit more.
I think Star Wars a lot of the time it is for families. It is.
Yeah,
it is for kids. Like the Ewoks were there for a reason. Jar Jar Binks was there for a reason. Yeah. All right, it's to sell toys, but it's also to appeal to kids.
Yeah. Well, it kind of brings me on to
and it depends what you grow up with.
This kind of takes us into the 2020 point, and looking back on 2019 as a point in that what I felt that they did and a lot of films do, and dare I say it, that Ricky Gervais kind of hinted upon it with his monologue in a sense
Golden
that
Globes 2020
is that everything's been they throw things in just to try and appeal to lots of different audiences and just to try and, so for example we had random, so we've seen 2019 is very much a female dominated. Let's have some female main characters and to try and diverse the things up.
I'd say the end of last decade, really.
Yeah. I mean,
like you look at Ghostbusters.
Great, good example. Yeah,
I didn't enjoy that. All the men in it were so stupid, weren't they?
Yeah.
In order to make the women extra good.
Yep.
Extra special. I don't know why it just doesn't make certain people really good, like men and women. Why to make certain people look amazing? So they put other people down. So
it's also going to your target audience, right? When you look at your target audience when you make a film, right? So when you make a film, you think, who's this going to appeal to? Who do we want to? Terminator is another example that happened this last year, 2019. Another example, Arnie become a side character as such, and then you end up with Sarah Connors, some new young girl who was just relevant, and the female human hybrid machine thing. It kind of, and it got over heavy in women taking over. And I've got nothing. Listen, we've got nothing against that. I've got nothing against that. But remember your target audience. So Kirky's favourite film is Terminator 2, right? So you are essentially, and I'd guess that a lot of people, like you, it would be one of their top films. So you're looking at your 30, 40-year-old guy, right? Between their 30s into their 40s. So that's your target audience for Terminator. Why is Hollywood at the moment going down this path of taking every franchise that was mainly, and I'd say mainly for guys, even Star Wars, I'd say, yes, you had your female Star Wars fans. I'm not saying you didn't. But I would say the majority of Star Wars fans are probably men in their 40s.
Yeah, I think 40s. With Star Wars, it's much broader, though.
It is. So I'm not saying it isn't. I'm not saying it isn't. I'm just saying that it is broader, and it's more broader than Terminator, for example.
Yeah, by far.
By far. But I would still say it's heavily male-oriented. So why, again, what seems to be happening? They did it in that... And Terminator was... not Terminator. Star Wars was weird, because then you had that female on a horse who started galloping up with...
The former
was Poe.
Stormtrooper. No, with Finn.
With Finn. She's rocked up. Someone with a mask as well as a love interest for the other one. Yeah. It was like they're just throwing these characters left, right and centre, these random female diverse characters, because there's one... Yeah. For no reason, and there was no real benefit to them. And it was like, do you know what? I was chatting with someone the other day.
She managed to give the
exactly
thing, didn't
do you know what it reminded me of?
Could get through the.
I had a discussion with someone the other day about this, and it reminded me
the MacGuffin. She gave the MacGuffin to him, didn't she?
It reminded me of a computer game. You know, when every bit you go to, you meet somebody, and you know you're only meeting that person because they've got to give you something to progress to the next mission. Yeah, it was that all the way. So. The girl on the horse, she was there to show them where the ship was and how that they had to go across the sea.
The fact that she had a boat or a skimmer or whatever they called it.
And that was the only reason. That was the main reason she was in the film. That was the main reason to help them progress the next bit. The one with the mask, who they happen to bump into, goes,
on a whole planet,
and meets him for like 5 minutes and goes, "This thing that I've been saving for all this time just to go off the planet myself, you can have it just because." It was so contrived. So it was like a computer game.
I do think though that Star Wars has always been like that. So many things that have happened in the Star Wars films have been very convenient.
So Star Wars for me was just very contrived in that sense, because, and I know what you're saying about previous ones have probably followed a similar pattern. However, it just felt the Rise of Skywalker was very jumpy in that. It was like boom, 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 boom with another bit. Rather, I mean, it just everything just led to so, for example, when she healed the snake thing, that was the worm thing. Right, now she can heal things, and then conveniently, then she used that to heal what's his name later on, and then he managed to use it on her to heal her when she, and it was like, oh my god, this hasn't existed for 8 films, and all of a sudden in this film, we're going to overuse it. We're going to crank it up a little bit. And
however, in the third one, episode 3, Palpatine did say to, and he was helping Anakin have nightmares, visions and he was having visions of Padme dying, and then Palpatine said to Anakin, "There's power in the dark side of the Force, and you can't learn it from a Jedi, but there's been Sith that have kept themselves alive for longer, and also brought love, like people that they love, back from the dead."
Okay,
and healed. So so that has been discussed. It's never been shown on screen, but it has been discussed in a Star Wars film.
Yeah, and I get that. I just think...
I didn't find that too much of a stretch because I was just remembering back to that film.
Yeah, I mean, it was, but for me, yeah. So ultimately for me, it was just trying too hard to be...
Darth Plagueis,
to do,
I believe, was the Sith Lord that could keep people alive.
Oh, well, there you go. Well, I mean, I for me, again, it just was too control. Again, I just wonder whether younger me would have liked it, but no, not for me.
Oh, I don't know. I think younger you probably would, because there was stormtroopers with jetpacks flying around.
Yeah, but maybe.
I thought that as a spectacle, I thought that was pretty cool. What else was there? So the battle just after Rey had seen a vision of herself as a Dark Lord, which had that lightsaber that folded up.
Yeah,
and she suddenly had two blades, almost like Wolverine or something.
Yeah,
it kind of went to then that battle she had with Kylo on top of the destroyed Death Star. I thought as a spectacle that looked awesome. Bit mad in that she grew up on a desert planet, but she knew how to ride the waves. And things like that, so that's going back to her being overpowered.
No, in this film, anything could
do
happen.
What she likes.
They kind of the rule. I'll go back to that. And one thing we've learned this year,
the rules.
I have rules when it comes to films, and it just didn't. It didn't have any rules. It just made them up as it went along. So as a result, you just kind of just went, oh, right, okay, oh, that's happening now. Oh, okay, that's happening now. And you just kind of just gave up on it in the end. I did, but anyway, it was okay. It weren't my cup of tea. I didn't like it very much. I thought it was very, very good drama. I know that you liked it, so between the two of us, probably come to a happy.
Yeah, I'd say it's in the middle of my list of Star Wars films.
So, I mean, I almost went on a little bit of a rant how movies have progressed over the past year, and I'll maybe come back to that in a little while. But let's go over what the positives of 2019, because there were some good films in 2019, and it's amazing. I look back and I kind of forget about the films that come, and it wasn't until you brought some up that I thought, oh my god, I forgot that come out in that year. So it's like Endgame. I mean, Endgame was last year, but and it feels like so long ago.
Come out at the end of March last year, or was it?
Yeah, but even then you think, so
it's approaching a year.
Well, yeah, I mean, 7-8 months, but it didn't. It felt like ages ago. I mean, and. I mean, for both of us, it's probably one of our favourite films of the year. I mean,
it came out in April because I started working with you.
Oh yeah, and I don't say it couldn't be someone's favourite. I didn't like the time travel element. I've been quite clear about that part of it. I didn't like the time travel part of it, but as a spectacle and as for everything else, and you know my history with Marvel. I've not got a massive background in Marvel. I'm kind of playing catch up a little bit, but so I wasn't that gutted by Black Widow die. I was like, all right, okay.
You heartless.
I was heartless, but I wanted to be sad, but I wasn't. I was more sad about because the big ones for me are Thor, Spider-Man, Iron Man. Even Iron Man was less on my agenda because I'd not seen many Iron Man films prior to that.
Yeah, but I've lent you a few films, haven't I? Have you watched them?
No, not. But I've caught up on because I'd not seen any Thor prior to this film.
Other than Ragnarok.
I don't think I'd seen that prior to. Was that just after I saw that?
You're right. Yeah, you hadn't. Yeah, you
hadn't. And now I love Thor. I love Thor. I love Ragnarok. Is one of my favourite Marvel films. One of my favourites.
I've just had a thought back. So in the Last Jedi, do you remember the bit when Princess Leia gets blasted out of the spaceship and ends up floating around in space?
Yes.
She looked like Mary Poppins.
Yes.
who did Mary Poppins better? Yondu in Guardians of the Galaxy 2 or Princess Leia?
That's a good question. I'm a big fan of Guardians, so I'm always going to start.
I'm Mary Poppins, y'all.
Yeah, I love that. But so Endgame for us. I mean, I know for me was excellent.
My favourite film of the year.
Yeah, I didn't prefer it to Infinity War. I will say that. I don't think it was quite as good. Purely because, again, I go back to the time travel thing, which ruined it. The storyline part for me.
You know what? The time travel thing. I think it's led to so many talking points, though, and it's made me think about the film so much. And the stuff with Captain America going back in time, and my daughter only being 10, so she was 9 when she saw it. She's she's asked questions on Captain America, and so she thinks that Captain America went back in time, and then, but she didn't really understand how far back. But then all of a sudden he comes back as an old person. She said to me, "Why did he just age himself?" And I had to explain to her that no, he went back in time and
lived his life.
Imagine the adventures he might have had.
Yeah, I mean, it does open up some new.
And then there's Loki.
Yeah,
there's a Loki running around.
Yes, there is. Yeah. Yeah. Listen, you know my thoughts on it. It just for me, it opens up so many. What films have done for years, and what we've been led to believe, and I appreciate films are allowed to change things. You know, that's what films are for. They can pretty much do what they like, but because we've grown up and kind of the general principle is in all films, so you go back and change the past, it will change the future. But because they distribute it into different timelines, they kind of got out of that and said, no, it's not like, because it did make me laugh when you said the Hot Tub Time Machine and Die Hard. Yeah.
But, you know, Back to the Future though, like Marty McFly would always be looking at the photo of his family, and they would gradually be fading away, wouldn't they? Which apparently scientifically wouldn't happen because
no, it wouldn't,
because it's actually various timelines possible. So when he's gone back in time, he's started a different timeline. So the other timeline is still going, but now he's started a new one. Yeah. So it wouldn't have made the family from his present day future timeline. That wouldn't be disappearing.
Right. Yeah, and I accept that. But I think what most films accept is that there is only one timeline. Because if you work on that principle, it's so much easier. I don't know how many other films can you think of gone different.
It is, but I just felt with Avengers Endgame, it was just so entertaining.
Yeah, no, it was
such a spectacle.
And again, I've said that. I've said it was excellent for it was just that one little thing.
And Tony Stark, and there was a few gags about his hippie beard, things like that. And then he met his dad.
Yeah. Again, thought it was great. Really good. Certainly one of our highlights of the year.
Best film of the year for me.
Yeah, and I'd probably agree with you. I mean, I had others that. I mean, for me, other ones that stand out was Detective Pikachu.
How nearly as good as Endgame is Detective Pikachu?
No, it's not. It's not. No, it's not at all. But it's what it is it's one of those things that it brought back a lot of nostalgia. It was a crap film. The storyline was terrible. I mean, it reminded me of of just an old cartoon. It was just the storyline was ridiculous and stupid and very, very dull, if anything. But as introducing Pokemon and going, look at all these Pokemon and making you go, oh, I remember that one, oh, I remember that one. And all you pretty much spent the whole film doing was go, oh, look at that Pokemon, oh, look at that one, do you remember that one? And
but it's also aimed at preteens, isn't it?
Yes.
It's not aimed at us, our age group.
No,
but you still enjoyed it though.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Again, it was my favourite film, but I loved it just for the nostalgia, how well they did the Pokemon. I thought it was quite funny.
Ryan Reynolds is charismatic, isn't he?
He's great as Pikachu.
Even though Six Underground was a shame for him, he was so much better in Detective Pikachu.
I mean, I don't know where they're going to go from it now. Whether they should do another one, but the story was just so bad.
They will do another one. It made money. They'll do another.
Well, what they can do with Pikachu though, because
Pikachu can do what they like with him.
Well, no, but it can't be Ryan Reynolds unless they're going to find a way of making him Pikachu again. Because basically, it was the dad that was in him, which I thought was a nice little twist at the end. Quite liked it.
They'll find a way.
Yeah, it was good though. Enjoyable film. One of my favourites of the year, has to be one of my favourites of the year. Saw it 3, maybe 4 times when I saw it with you. Toy Story 4, loved it. Loved Toy Story 4. It was a bit pointless. Again, number 3 for me, perfect ending. Perfect ending to the trilogy at the time, or even perfect ending to the story of the toys. However, so number 4. I did feel was unnecessary and kind of wrapped it up in a way, like, I mean, there were kids crying everywhere in the Toy Story 4, and I did find it really sad. And 3, yeah. I mean, so kids, and so I kind of thought, why have we, the end of the 3 was a happy ending. Number 4 was sort of happy, except Woody's now gone off on his own little journey.
And it's left the door open for another one if they want to.
Yeah, I mean, it was brilliant. Keanu Reeves as Duke Kaboom, excellent, absolutely excellent. Loved it. And I loved Forky. Forky was literally my favourite character that's come out in a long time.
They are very good at introducing new characters, aren't they?
Very good.
Because
very good.
Toy Story 2 introduced Jessie. And
Bullseye, wasn't it?
And Bullseye and
Stinky
Pete, the prospector.
Yep.
Toy Story 3, Lotso Bear, cracking villain.
Yep. Really good villain.
Really good villain.
Yeah.
Bearing in mind, he's a pink, cuddly teddy bear.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about this in the car the other day, didn't we? About how good the 4 films are. I mean, we tried ranking them, and it's so hard when you try and break them all down. They're all so good in their own individual way, and as a result, I mean, I thought I didn't want that.
Very quickly, your order.
It was, we said the other day, wasn't it? It was 1, 3, 4, 2 or 1. I think it's 1, 3, 4, 2.
I think mine would go 3, 2, 1, 4. But they're so close.
Yeah. So, but that doesn't. Yeah. So 2 being bottom of mine doesn't make it a terrible bad film, because it wasn't. It was still a very good film. 1 just because that's where it all started. 3 because of the ending was perfect. I mean, it was so full circle, beautifully done.
And it was so emotional, wasn't it? And then all of a sudden,
massively.
It went straight back into humour. The claw.
Yeah.
I love that.
So clever how they've done. I mean, what I will say is the collection of Toy Story films, excellently done, beautifully done. Number 4 was a highlight of the year for me, because I thought, what a pointless film. And I went into it worried, but come out of it, loved it.
That trailer, it felt so much like more of the same. I felt I really don't need to see this. You talked me into going to watch it, and I'm glad you did, because I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It's not one of my favourites of the year, but I really, really enjoyed that film. How would you go about criticising Toy Story 4? Other than it didn't need to happen.
It didn't need to happen. It didn't. I was a bit sad that they split up Woody and Buzz at the end.
Yeah,
because they've gone so long, and Woody's gone off on his own little journey now.
But they're gonna meet up again, aren't they? If they make another one, they'll find a way.
Yeah. But
because like Bo Peep, she wasn't in the third one. She was in one and small part in 1 and 2.
Yeah.
She was massively expanded on for number 4, but she wasn't in number 3 at all. So if they find a way to do things,
definitely reckon if you haven't seen Toy Story 4, go and see it. It'll
watch it up
now. But it's well worth seeing. Don't think it's just going to be more of the same, because the way they've done it is excellent. So definitely
one of my it's not one of my favourite films, but I probably would say I'd put it in the Toy Story 4 sort of level of how much I enjoyed it, and I was surprised to enjoy it as much as I did. Fighting with my family, and you've seen that recently.
Was that this year? Was that?
It came out last. Yeah. It came out 2019. You've just seen it on Netflix, haven't you?
Anyone who knows me knows I'm a big wrestling fan. I do wrestle. It's always been a big part of my life. So it was quite interesting.
Shout out to Storm
the wrestler. That's KWA. That's who I wrestle for. So when the wrestler came out, so there was a film called The Wrestler, which came out with Mickey Rourke, right? So that was quite
I've not watched that yet.
Have you not seen it?
No.
It's a good film. Good film.
I've
been
heard good
to see
things about
reviews
it.
on that, because it's a good film. So when that came out, as someone who loved wrestling, I really wanted to see it. When my family came out, I didn't have much desire to see it for a couple of reasons.
Well, you didn't see it at the cinema, so you can't.
No. I watched it on Netflix. My parents were around for Christmas, and I saw it, and I thought that might be something that they might kind of like. And actually, do you know what? It weren't bad. I quite enjoyed it. I enjoyed certainly the first half. Again, the first half of it was very, very good. Tailed off a little bit towards the end, but my reasons for it. A big debate about this in the office the other day about the fact that it's not entirely accurate to what really happened. They've certainly flashed it up for cinema, but do you know what? It was alright.
So are you saying that she didn't have a 1-to-1 with Rock before she went out for that final battle, the World Championship fight?
Very unlikely. Someone's probably going to tell me it did happen now. And it also, but the way
Dwayne Johnson, if you want to get in contact with us, feel free.
Just let us know. Did that really happen? And the way that you said it did. No, but it was alright. Vince Vaughn, I love Vince Vaughn. I really do.
Too.
I love his films.
Hacksaw Ridge.
Yeah, even that? Hacksaw Ridge.
I love him in that.
Yeah, and I love the way he's gone off in a different direction from just sticking with comedy. Yes, I love The Internship, which came out I think last year.
Wedding Crashers. We both love that. We talk about that quite often, don't we?
Love Wedding Crashers. I love Vince Vaughn. I think it's great. There's something about it.
He has been in some duds, but most actors have been, haven't they?
Who hasn't?
Even Tom Hanks has been in some duds.
Yeah, exactly. It does happen. So,
not many, but he's been in them.
No. Before Carol, I'm trying to think of any more of mine. Go on, what are yours?
Fighting with My Family, though. Deem Me Dead, Bury Me Pregnant. No,
good.
I'm not going to swear.
No,
that's not what we do, but I love that. That's so funny. I love the family in that, and when they have Zach Zodiac's in-laws round for dinner, the way they're trying to not swear around, and they're trying to not come across as real low lives or anything like that. They're trying to come across as respectable people, and it's just so funny.
Yep. Any more of your favourites for the year before we move on?
Favourites for the year. Hang on, I did. Right. Ad Astra. I really like that.
But I know you really liked it.
I think Brad Pitt's had a really good year. I really enjoyed him in Ad Astra. There was more action in that than I thought there would be.
Yeah.
From the trailer, it looked like it was going to be very, very, very predictable.
Yep.
But most of that trailer was the first 20 minutes of the film. So there was loads of things that happened in it that I really wasn't expecting. I thoroughly enjoyed that. Also enjoyed Once Upon a Time in America. You didn't get on with that, did you?
No, I just got a bit bored. It was too long for me. Too long.
It is long. There's a lot of wide shots and close-up shots and really fancy cinematography and people walking, but that's kind of to be expected of Tarantino films.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm not a massive Tarantino fan. I find that sometimes
he likes people driving and listening to music and not necessarily saying anything for a while.
Or
things
like
that.
If they are talking, they're talking for bloody forever. That's the thing. It's some things they do really drag out. But I respect
the way it then picked up towards the end as well. The violence was, I thought it was hilariously good.
Another one for me, Spider-Man.
Yeah,
enjoyed that this year.
Yeah, Far From Home.
Really enjoyed that more than I thought I'd enjoy it. Because bear in mind, it was the follow-up to Endgame. You've got a lot. It's a lot of work to do following that. But
it was quite emotional, really, wasn't it? Like the way he thought he wasn't going to live up to the legacy of Tony Stark. Yeah. But then by the end of the film, his arc was that he accepts that he's never going to be. Yeah. He's his own man.
Yeah. I really enjoyed that. It wasn't one I was expecting to. Again, no, similar to Toy Story. I thought. When I enjoy it,
some funny bits in it as well.
It was very good.
Very funny film.
Really enjoyed it.
But I just want to say, Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah,
he was really good in it.
Very
as
good.
well.
Yeah, I agree. That brings me on to another one very quickly. Actually, Captain Marvel. Forget that came out this year or last year, beginning of the year.
Yeah, I liked it, but it's in like the lower end of quality for the Marvel films for me.
It was one of those films.
I put it in with the Iron Man 2 sort of quality.
Exactly the same. I think you come away from it going, it's alright. And that's pretty much all you can say. It didn't blow me away. No, it weren't bad. I mean, not many Marvel films are bad. No,
it had its funny moments, didn't it? A bit of nostalgia in there, but not one of the more memorable ones for me.
Well, and do you know what? It's going to be interesting where they go from it now, because one of the main reasons, the main reason I went to see it was...
She can go anywhere in the universe now, can't she?
No, but what I mean is that it'd be interesting where they take... And how popular it is, because it was always going to be popular, because...
I think it made over $1 billion.
Well, it had to, didn't it? Because
it was just before.
Just before Endgame, and also because of the end credit scene from Infinity War... It made you want to see. It felt like you had to see it before you saw it
because of the page.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
They were cheeky with that one. That was kind of what. In fairness to them, what a great way to make people go and see a film, because you felt you had to. I felt I had to go and see that film. Yeah. And I pretty much went and saw it as soon as it came out, because I thought I have to see this to see what's going to happen in Endgame. So because it's going to tee me up for it. Well, I'm not going to see what's going to happen, but it's going to tee me up, so I know what's going on. So yeah, quite good. Any more favourites in there?
I've got some others that I really liked. All right, Le Mans 66.
Yes, heard very good things about that. I've not seen it, but I've heard very good things.
Absolutely excellent performances by Christian Bale and Matt Damon. Very, very good. Some real emotional highs and lows in that film. Some bits, especially Christian Bale, some of the dialogue in it, and his character is just hilarious at times. But he didn't feel like a caricature at all. He seemed like a real person, but a real funny, witty, dry sense of humour sort of guy. Real old-fashioned, like, Englishman in America. Who's set in his ways, and he's stubborn. I thought it was great.
Yeah, I've heard
great.
good things about it.
I really recommend it. It's bearing in mind it's effectively just cars going round and round the racetrack. It is the key plot. But the way it's done is so exciting. Really, really good film.
I think you have one more on there, didn't you? 21 Bridges, isn't it?
21 Bridges I really liked.
I've seen that, but
I recommend that. It was like a kind of old school thriller action sort of film.
Yeah, and we don't get too many of them now, do we? Really?
No, we don't. It felt like. Have you seen The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3? There was a remake with Denzel Washington and John Travolta.
Right. Yeah.
10 years ago, maybe a little bit longer ago. It sort of reminded me of the 1970s original, Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3, but in the modern day. There was a couple of twists in it that were a little bit too predictable, but it was just so well done. The action scenes were absolute quality. The chases in it were absolutely brilliant. I was entertained all the way through.
Yeah, I was disappointed I didn't see it.
I think you'd like it, I really do.
Yeah. That's pretty much it, really. I mean, apart from the duds that we saw this year that you've already heard, Rambo that you never saw, Last Blood.
I will watch that. That will come on Netflix or Prime or something, won't it? So what have we got coming up that we're looking forward to?
It's a good question. What have we got coming up? I don't know what's.
Well, at the moment,
Cats maybe. Or?
No, at the moment, Jojo Rabbit is out.
Oh, do you know? I think we've just missed out. Just very, very quickly, Joker. How can we go? Can't do a 2019 review without mentioning Joker.
And that's grown on you as well.
Grown on me. I mean, I haven't seen it again, but I kind of look back on it, and I suppose having seen the likes of Star Wars and Jumanji, where they've all been action, I kind of I missed the likes of Joker, which I still stand by the fact it got a bit dull in the middle and got a bit samey. But looking back on it, actually, do you know what? I was intrigued by that, and I come away from it saying, yes, I might have been a bit bored, but I was intrigued by it. So
I still stand by the Joaquin performance. Joaquin Phoenix performance was absolutely excellent. But I do wish that he had a foil. That's for me why I didn't score it higher than what I did.
No, I mean, and even if I did score it again, I wouldn't go that much over a 3 out of 5. It might scrape up to a 3.5, maybe go to a set. It did miss that little bit, that little something. But I'll watch it again and maybe.
I completely understand why so many people love it, totally. and awards season at the moment, I believe Joaquin Phoenix won a Golden Globe for Best Actor. Fair. Absolutely fair, and he'll probably win the Oscar.
Yeah,
if he does.
I mean, there's not much else out there that can really compete with him. To be honest, I think.
No, and I haven't seen a lot of indie films this year, so.
No,
and they do, it does tend to be the dramatic and period and the independent films that do tend to win the more prestigious awards, rather than what we go and watch, which is. Comic book movies and and various comedies.
So 2020, what we got coming up?
So at the moment at the cinemas, Jojo Rabbit, directed and I think written by. It's adapted from a book. Taika Waititi, who is the director of Thor Ragnarok. The upcoming, not this year, but the upcoming Thor: Love and Thunder. And he also directed... The first thing I saw him direct was What They Do in the Shadows.
Right, yeah.
I really recommend that. That's a mockumentary based on a group of vampires that live in a house together in New Zealand. It doesn't sound funny, but it really is. It's hilarious. And Hunt for the Wilder People is another film that he's directed. But I believe that because... Thor Ragnarok was so successful.
Yeah.
He's kind of been given free rein to do what he wants,
Yeah.
and so this has led to Jojo Rabbit.
Yeah, which I've heard good things about.
I've heard lots of good things about it, so I do want to see that. Cats is out. I don't want to see that. No way. What else?
It's been a bit limited.
I think I'm going to be seeing a film with my wife.
Yeah,
in the next couple of days.
It's there's not been too much. I mean, we did have a look. I can't remember what was coming out that we thought was looking really good.
No, right. So, 1917.
Oh, right, yes.
He's out
yeah,
at the moment.
that looks quite good as well.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of the director, but I'm willing to let him prove me wrong. I believe that he's ruined the last couple of Bond films, but I know that Spectre I can't stand at all. And then before that was, what's it called? Skyfall.
Yes.
Skyfall. Yeah. Skyfall I thought was okay, but a lot of people love it.
Yeah.
But I'm not. Yeah. I'm just not a fan of Sam Mendes.
Yeah. I think ultimately, just looking back on the past year, I mean, it's been quite a good year for films. I think it's we've had the exciting, the drama. I'm interested where they go. I'm hoping they learn from some of the mistakes they're making with regards to and I will give credit to another YouTuber that we watch. The Critical Drinker is excellent. If anyone wants to tune into him, he's very, very good. Does movie reviews. Certainly someone
and TV as well.
He does TV, yeah, and he did do games a while back, but he's very, very good. Certainly someone that we would recommend as someone to watch. And I kind of agree with him. He did a bit of an end of year review, and I kind of look back on it, and Ghostbusters coming out this year as well. It's another one.
The trailer dropped
I'd be interested
to
see where that'll go. But it just seems like Hollywood made a lot of mistakes in the last decade of trying to put out stuff that wasn't necessary. Charlie's Angels, what was the point? You know,
no one went to watch it.
No,
because no one was asking for a new Charlie's Angels.
But they're not. And why take something that? And I'm going to go quickly back to my point from earlier. Why take something? It was the same with Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters, everyone likes Igor, Phil. Is it Peter? Igor, Peter. Egon, Egon, Peter, I can't remember all their names anyway. But everyone loves the four characters, right? It was four guys and you knew who they were. Why take something that's so successful and so popular? And the people that are going to watch it are the people that grew up watching Ghostbusters, and we want to go and see that. It's like taking He-Man and turning him into something he's not.
The Ghostbusters remake film was directed by Kevin... is it Paul Feig? Yeah, Paul Feig. All his films are basically the same. Yeah,
I just think
he just made a typical film that he makes, but he put the Ghostbusters logo on it.
I just want a little bit more of that, something. Just stick to what's good. Stick to what you know. Hit your target audiences. That's my big thing. Don't try to appease to everyone. That's where Hollywood keeps going wrong. He's trying to appease in their films, trying to hit every single market within one film. Yeah. You can't do that sometimes. And if you pick your most popular ones, like when what's that film? 50 Shades of Grey come out. Really, really mega popular. Why is it popular? And it's not popular with guys like me,
and it's because fans of the book and word of mouth.
And what it doesn't do, what they didn't do.
Yeah, I didn't want to watch them, but I can understand why people that were fans of the book and things like that want to watch them.
They didn't want to try and adapt it. And what seems to happen nowadays, they take something like that, which is a specific genre, for one person, one group of people, or even if it's a large group of people, but it's like trying to turn that into an action film, like a James Bond type of thing. Just
to clarify, so I understand. So the 50 Shades books and films were targeted at women.
Women, yeah.
They weren't targeted at us, and we just accept that. And the people that want to go and watch
films. Go enjoy your films.
But what you're saying is, if they'd tried to put a twist in it to try and get a male audience, that would have been a mistake.
Yeah, because then what you're doing is you're risking alienating your own audience just to try and include another, and you don't need to do that. And that's what I sometimes...
Which is the same sort of thinking you're applying to, say, Ghostbusters.
Exactly that.
Rather than appeal to the nostalgia and the older fans of it and try and bring in a younger audience, maybe. They've tried to flip it completely, and you can't understand why they're...
No, you don't need to. This is you know your target audience. You appeal to that target audience. That's like me and you sitting here and starting, deciding what we're going to do is, oh, by the way, at the end of this review, we're going to whack and we're going to start reviewing toys. Do you know what I mean? Just because we want to appeal to a younger audience. We don't know bugger all about toys, right? Really, in realistic terms.
No, you're right.
So we don't add that in there. The reason we don't add that in there is because that's the target audience, so we don't really...
No.
It's no point. We've got no reason to and that's what I found movies are kind of doing. They just want to try and be, you know, whether it is to
be all
male, female. I mean, you know, and I will briefly mention. So, you know, you had the. Do you remember the female empowerment bit from Endgame that just all the female characters all joined up in the middle of the scene? It was so unnecessary, and it's just to go girl power,
and it looked fake.
And it did look fake.
Yeah.
And I've got nothing. But
I know it was a CGI scene anyway, but.
It's unnecessary. It's unnecessary. It's like...
Well, yeah, because the Avengers are very mixed up, aren't they?
Of course they are.
There's a lot of, especially now, there's a lot of females, almost as many as the male characters within the Avengers. Yeah, so suddenly to stop and have a moment which was just filled with women looked a bit odd. Why didn't it just have a big pan out scene of the women and the men together?
I know, because they just had to have that moment where female power, just to try and be,
but it looked
diverse.
It looked shoehorned in, didn't
it? If it did.
Another thing,
I know what you're going to say. I know what you're going to say because it bothered me. I know what you're going to say.
The kiss, the girl on girl kiss, like it came out of nowhere.
It did. It did.
Like, why didn't they have those two characters? Like, why didn't it show them having a relationship before that moment?
Or even some sort of relationship, like some sort of like, you know, like you're getting a little glimpse that they're gonna like. So we went to see Frozen 2. It was another one. But I know you saw the review for that. But it was kind of like with that. There was a suggestion that Elsa was going to be a lesbian, wasn't there? There was a lot of suggestion that Disney going to do it. And Disney going to make that jump and make her a lesbian. And they didn't. They whether they bottled it or whatever the reason. But it was as if it's as if they went in that film and went, I know we bottled the Elsa thing, but you know what we've got. We're going to whack something in this just to show that we can do it. To have a kid, it was an irrelevant, and I just think if that's a big moment for Disney, if we're going to say Disney are going to embrace the,
I wasn't sure if Poe and Finn, as the course of the trilogy went on, I wasn't sure if they were potentially going to have a romance rather than a bromance. I thought it could have gone either way.
Yeah, and there was a big suggestion around that.
It clearly just stayed with bromance.
But the reason,
and fair enough, but at least there'd been interactions beforehand. They had two background characters just suddenly have a kiss.
Yeah.
Like that was the other than Kylo and Rey kissing. For it was kind of obvious reasons. Yep. They had some odd relationship. They'd had a relationship, so you could kind of understand them kissing. But these two randoms, I barely noticed one of them throughout the whole trilogy, let alone the other one. But let's just get someone in for her to have a kiss with.
Just to show, and you know that the only reason they're doing that is just show that they can embrace some diversity. And I just think, don't do it for that reason. Do it because it means something. Do it because it matters. Because
it feels organic.
But
it didn't feel organic at all.
No. And I was at the time just like,
what?
Why have they thrown that in there?
Yeah.
There's no need for it. It's like, and it like if you're gonna do it, make them. It was interesting in another review that I heard, and you know, because you do watch other reviews to gather people's ideas, but there was a suggestion that with Poe and who's the other guy? Finn. The only reason those two other female characters were brought in was just to clarify they're not gay and just to eradicate that rumour. Yeah. And that was the reason those two were brought in, was to do that, to eradicate that rumour. But I don't know why they just embrace that. I would have had, have them have a cuddle or something at the end. And
Finn, in the Force Awakens, he was asking Rey if she's got a boyfriend.
Yeah.
So it kind of felt like he might have wanted to have a relationship with her.
Yeah.
And they did a lot together in that first film.
Yeah, they did, yeah.
But then Finn and Poe had met, and then they'd embraced a little bit, like congratulating each other and things like that.
Yep.
At the end of the first film of that trilogy. They spent a little bit more time together in The Last Jedi. and then by the third one, they were really bickering.
Yeah, I know.
So it's like we're really showing that that's a bromance, and actually they're not getting along.
Yeah.
It just felt forced.
Yeah, I agree.
Don't get it.
Yeah. So I think going forward, just if you're making a film, just go for your target audience, stick with it. Don't try and include every other, part of society that you want to include.
If it doesn't work, if it's a good film, people will go and see them
yep.
anyway.
Yep. Look at Joker. Joker's a prime example of that. It's just straight up what it is. It didn't try and be anything that it wasn't.
No.
It just was straight up what it was. And that's what overcomes it, and that ultimately, films like that, which are simplistic and, feature character development and are enjoyable, are going to, what's going to be most popular. People respect that. People look at that and will respect that far more than they will just...
Yeah, and just to be clear, we haven't got anything against characters being gay at all.
No,
it's just I'd just rather it get there organically.
No, and it's quite clear, and the fact that we even have to say that, it kind of frustrates me, because you don't mind it when it happens,
not at all.
in a progressive manner that.
But I would say the same for a heterosexual relationship.
Exactly.
I would like
exactly that.
It just wouldn't make sense for them to just suddenly be in love with each other if they've had hardly any interactions.
No, and I think it's just my bit of a gripe with Disney, because Disney have for quite some time now have been not. They've actively, in recent years, it's quite interesting the way Disney have gone, because it always used to be there's the princess, and the prince together, blah blah blah. Then Frozen come out and kind of embraced female empowerment and kind of just went, no, women can do it again.
And then Moana.
And the guys,
and even Tangled.
Tangled was exactly the
same.
I love Tangled. Tangled was great.
I like all three of those films.
But they kind of went down to the female, don't need a prince, we're going to stick with the female thing kind of thing. They've not quite got to the point of where they're into their, they've embraced like same-sex kind of relationships yet, but they're getting there. And I don't necessarily think they need to, but they are getting there. But it felt like that bit at the end of Star Wars was just thrown into by Disney just to say we can do it.
We've done it.
We've done it. Look, you said we couldn't. Now we've done it. That's what it felt like to me. And if you're going to use cinema just to prove a point,
it's like they're scared to do things, but then show look how brave we are. Look what we did. Aren't we good? Aren't we amazing that we've had two randoms kiss each other?
That's exactly it. And I'm sure we didn't have this when we filmed when we were growing up. Didn't have it in Die Hard and all that today. All these problems. It was just simplistic, and it's what it was.
Like Indiana Jones, at least he spent most of the film with a lady before he kissed her.
Yeah, or James Bond.
He spent 5 minutes with her.
Well, it's 5 minutes. Anyway, we better wrap this up, because this has been a very long
new Bond film coming out. Sorry.
Yes, there is. There? And I know you're worried about that as well.
I am worried about that.
We're going to wrap this up. This will probably... You've got to end this. I'm assuming this is probably going to be in 2 parts by the time you've read. Okay, I'm hoping it's 2 parts, because it's going to be nearly an hour long. I hope you've enjoyed it. It's been a long while. We're back, and we'll get some new stuff out this year. Once some films start coming out that we want to see.
Well, I'm probably going to watch 1917 and Jojo Rabbit.
I might go and see something this weekend, and we'll get a new review out soon. But yeah, Happy New Year, everyone. Again, we'll go back to the point. I think we're up to 51. I know our viewers have stagnated a little bit, but we haven't released any new material. No. Once we do get to 100, we will give away 2 cinema tickets, and hopefully we'll push this forward. Thank you very much, everyone, and we will see you soon.